best right back, Charlie's definitely.
And just like that, we're live. People, Deluded, I'm back again. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Of course, in some cases, good night. I hope everyone's doing well and safe. I hope you're all having a great Tuesday. Big up you lot on Twitch. If you're on YouTube, please smash the like button now. I think I speak for every Arsenal fan where, you know, we hope for signings this month and, you know, you have to live in hope. But it's the 28th of January, 12:32 at the time of obviously speaking about this. Get a bit nervous, you know, 1 minute is Sesko, then it's Cunha. We're now being linked with Duran, who I personally feel, unpopular opinion, and I've got no evidence of this. Aston Villa want João Felix, who's not playing at Chelsea. Chelsea need a striker. They've gone for Duran before. Obviously, he signed a new deal. He's been linked with Saudi Arabia, PSG, etc. I think he might go Chelsea, but of course, would love him. Man United buy youth. Yes, they've bought Aiden from us people. So yeah, we'll cover that as well. What happened to Nepan? Again, big up to you lot that watched the video last night. Really, I covered that. We'll go over that again. You know, I think we're kind of at where we're at with him. It seems like that 18-year-old's the most realistic one to coming in. A man said a day closer to Rashford and Willian. I must admit, you know, I definitely don't want Willian, but it would be right on brand with Arsenal. And obviously, Rashford, you're not playing. I would say, you know, Amarin played the political game, and naturally he's freezing him out. But I'm talking the political game to the media. I do think, on one hand, Amarin's comments are warranted. I do think, on another hand, people are exaggerating them. But yeah, I mean, end of the day, Rashford's not playing for all the links, hasn't moved yet, not in the squad, so you're not fit. The manager's clearly a bit like when we had when Arteta came in. Pardon me, he's allowed to sanction man out. It's all situations are different. But you look at Maresca's with Sterling at Chelsea, you look at what we did with Aubameyang and Ozil and all of that kind of stuff. It would just be an Arsenal thing to get Rashford. Now, when you're starving, anything put on a plate in front of you could potentially look appealing to you. I'm not having Rashford, man. I won't cry if we get him. I give everyone a chance. Obviously, if we just focused on what he looks like on YouTube, great. But listen, I don't like anyone down on their luck. I'm rooting for Rashford all the way. It's just, can it not be at our club? Why do we always do the underdog thing, really and truly? I mean, between Martinelli and Rashford, we're going to pull our hair out, man. So it'd be a madness, man. Duran is a finisher and scores low GA chances, low-key what we need, and he's only 20, bun the price, we ain't paying. I'm having Duran, you know, I'm having half of the guys, I'm having Duran, and like you said, he's got that X factor. The problem is with Duran, you've signed a new contract. I mean, Aston Villa don't want to let you go on the best of days. They've got Watkins, they've got you, goals win games, they've got great players. They're not going to let you go in January. They're going to make it difficult. And obviously, he signed a new deal, which doesn't help at all, man. I'm having Duran, like you said, he's 20 years of age. I think he's got that positive chip on his shoulder. We obviously need a striker. I don't know how far the Premier League proven thing goes. Smash the like button, but quote unquote, he's Premier League proven. I'm having him, but Aston Villa, they got a great project going on. They're trying to build on what they're doing. Obviously, nobody wants to let their key players go in January. That seems to be the theme of not just Arsenal, but everyone that we've been linked with. We heard that with Sesko. We heard that with Cunha. We heard that with Duran and everybody but like Nepan and all of these guys, man. What I would say is there's no excuses. I hear it, you know, in theory, the rhetoric around if you can't find a player, don't bring anyone in. We tried. It's difficult. I hear all of that. These are all things that affect everyone. But make it happen. Because, again, it's not that I want every player that's gone to another team, although that Caradonna at PSG, I was watching his debut, people, well, formerly of Napoli. I was jealous, man. I was like, we could have done with that on the left. But bottom line is, the vast majority of teams, or I think I speak for every Arsenal fan, you're seeing teams make movements or at least try. Like, obviously, I don't really care for bidding and not getting players, but you're seeing people at least try. And again, we're probably doing things behind the scenes and whatnot. But to me, as an ignorant fan that can only comment on what's in front of me, it don't look sustainable. You know, we're getting injuries, match fatigue, a lot of games. People like Lewis-Skelly getting sent off for no reason. boy, I think we need something. The squad needs a boost. And obviously Declan Rice didn't mean it. But when Declan Rice a few weeks ago came out and said the gaffer had to play Tierney left wing, that tells me that the players are not stupid. They don't live in a bubble. They know they need reinforcements. And we're kind of paying for our sins, in my opinion, what we didn't do in January. Jerome has said, accepted that no one might come in. I guess that's a possibility. We know that's a typical Arsenal thing. Again, if we be a bit lazy and we look at when we was in a worse situation, do you remember when we missed out on top 4 to Spurs? I think they brought in Kulusevski and Bentancur and we signed no one. We was in a dramatically worse place then. So if the club have got through that, they probably I don't think it's that deep if they believe they can be if they sign someone or not. Now, again, when the summer window closed, we know injuries and lack of quality in Stardust and all the things we're talking about, but Arteta and the club had to accept, if worse comes to worse, this squad is good enough. Whether it's Haylanders coming through, whether it's existing players, get the people who make the decisions at Arsenal, I can't lie, they're going to have to hold that. I hope that's not the case, but it definitely is a massive, massive reality. Charlie, big up yourself, man. Part of the furniture here, man. Run up the likes if you haven't. What universe are we not getting players not playing for? What universe are we not getting players not playing for? We have not any major trophy in 21 years. Eddie, forgive me. I don't quite understand what you're getting at there, my dude. Apologies. I don't know. Duran in January, then Isaac in the summer. Andrew, you're living a movie, you know, really. I would love that, but we're not going to say, you're not going to have Duran and Isaac in it. It's either or. If you sign Duran for whatever fees being quoted, then in my opinion, you know, it's not that you can't do things, but that ends you somewhat your pursuit of the Isaacs and this one and that one. You know, we've been linked with a lot of players. Half of the players I'm having, I definitely would have Duran, definitely would have Mbuemo, definitely would have Isaac, definitely would have Cunha. But, you know, the dream is free. The hustle is sold separately. It makes for great talking points and content. But again, until people are placing bids, personal terms are being accepted, medicals are happening and players are holding shirts, madness. I think signing no one will damage the relationship between the fans and the club. Really? Because, I disagree. A couple of positive results were all right. And we've come through a lot. Now we're second. People are happy to tell you about we're the best team in 2024. You know, we still are on a decent run in the Premier League, regardless of what we're saying. I don't think so. We've been here before, man. And again, unfortunately, us fans will just have to get on with it. Rashford is our equivalent to backbread, tap water, brazy. And even that, it don't make sense for Rashford. Obviously, he's not going to earn the wages that he's going to earn, that he's earning at Man United, at Arsenal. And that's a whole nother talking point for Man United if he's not sold. But he's going to probably be one of our highest earners. He'd be one of the more experienced players. I mean, he's played at international level, played for Man United, done all those things. And a bit like what we'd have typically with Gabriel Jesus and Zinchenko, on paper, you lot should be the most reliable players. We don't know what we're getting. Again, if we want to be a team that competes and in the mix, Rashford can be a part of that. If we want to get over the line, then a lot of questions, in my opinion, that we have need to start turning into answers. We need to know who's going to get the goals. We need to know who's going to do the business when the usual suspects aren't having a good game. We need to know that we've got a suitable amount of bodies. And unfortunately, when the summer window closed, these were questions I had no answers to as a humble fan. So I'm disappointed. I can't say I'm surprised. There's a number of reasons to be optimistic about Arsenal Football Club, but in the summer, you needed a lot, considering the market we had, you would need a lot of dominoes to fall in your favor for Arsenal to win a Premier League trophy. We talk about fine margins and all of those kind of things and maximal gains and all of these buzzwords. I think with the way, whether we've won, lost, or drawn football matches, I don't think we've adhered to that, if I'm honest. Those who haven't visited the like button, unexpected high bills. Trust me, unexpected high bills. If you ain't smashed the like button, Duran would be an asset. I'll be stunned if we actually get him. And if you're Aston Villa, again, we know the striking market is dead. Are you in a rush to sell him? Because again, whether these guys are placing bids or not, but PSG, Chelsea, Arsenal, Saudi Arabia, these clubs, quote unquote, are all sniffing around John Duran. West Ham, to be honest, they saw the vision because they tried to get him before he kind of got the hype he's getting at Aston Villa. They tried to get him a couple times. So they know that they're in a good position. And they got 2 decent strikers. Accepted that no one was coming in before the window was even open. We never take a gamble and splash on someone who could flop. Fair enough if we have done it loads, but we haven't. We're always too conservative. Duran would cost a bomb, so we might as well drop the bag for Isaac and Gyökeres. I hear it. Kvaratskhelia is a monster of a player. Still can't believe we didn't make an offer for him. I can. It's right on brand with us. DG heard Saliba isn't training for the Champions League match. Reckon Arteta is saving him for City. Well, to be fair, he's got to save him for City, man. Well, do we have enough players to even talk about rotating and resting players and doing things of that ilk, really, with the injuries and everything we're facing? But you'd imagine Girona, barring something crazy, we're on course to be in the next round of the Champions League. You'd imagine maybe an opportunity to play some Highlanders, maybe an opportunity to even start the Highlanders. And so, likewise, you could imagine Kivior and someone getting a run up. But then who the hell is playing? Who is playing? Because we need to we need to be a bit cute and clever what we're doing around Timber. Definitely Calafiori. Obviously, we still don't know what's going on with Lewis-Skelly, but he is allowed to play in the Champions League. You could, I think Gabriel will start, but do you even, Gabriel's played a lot of minutes. Even our backup goalie Neto, because if he doesn't play tomorrow, which we will be doing a watch along, when are you going to get an opportunity? You're cup tied, so forget Newcastle, as you lot know. Respectfully to Neto, whatever happens with Arsenal in the Champions League, our first choice goalkeeper Ryan needs to play. You technically could play in the Premier League, but until it's Liverpool are confirmed champions, I can't, or Raya unfortunately was to get injured. Hopefully not the case. You're not playing, so there's that. Moreno's apparently back in training. There's an opportunity there. Odegaard missed out against the Wolves, so he could probably start and get away with it. Surely Sterling gets a start. He hasn't had too many, but yeah, man. Blockbuster life, my guy. Big up yourself, Andrew. Oh my God, something's in my eye. Smash the like button and subscribe if you're new here. Duran, Ferguson, and Liam Delap are all major risks. Every signing's a risk because you could spend the peas on Isaac and it doesn't bang. You could buy Sesko and it doesn't bang. You could get half of these guys, really and truly. I wouldn't say, but where you look at Ferguson and Liam Delap, depending on the fee you obtain these guys for, and to be fair, Duran, but it's a bit irrelevant because of the fee that they're asking. The younger you are, obviously, there's more scope to get around it, but every signing's a risk, man. We need to start taking risks, and we have taken risks. Signing Kai Havertz was a risk. Whether it's worked out or not, nobody at that football club, regardless of what we hear about Mikel Arteta, can tell me I'm not saying he's a bad player, but you can't say he was 100% convinced. In terms of the player, I think everyone was 100% convinced on Declan Rice, but you start talking about the price tag, and it gets a bit shaky. So I have to see. It's just us, bro. Man City have signed nearly 4 players in this market. You Arsenal lot are woke as... Okay, no clue what that means, but I don't know. If Kai got his Chelsea wages, Rashford will also get his United wages, which again is a big myth because again, if you're going to do that, then if that is the case, not that I don't care what someone gets paid, it's nothing to do with me, just care about it from a football perspective. But what is the point potentially? Let's just focus on wages. Gabriel Jesus is obviously on great wages and he's staying now because of the ACL. But you're going to, Zinchenko's probably going to be gone. Tini's on like 100 grand. Nelson's on 100 grand. Partey's on 2 something. Jorginho's probably on something decent. There's a lot of players that will probably leave. What is the point doing all of that? And bearing in mind, Saliba, Gabriel, and Saka, you need to sort out those new deals and then put Rashford on that big money. If Rashford was to sign for a decent fee and big money, I don't care as long as he does the job. But it does not make sense because all of the things that people are saying as to reasons to sign Marcus Rashford, we heard that to a degree with Kai Havertz, and we heard that last summer with Raheem Sterling. I don't want to hear that again. As I said, if Rashford signed for Arsenal, I believe in giving everyone a chance. And I'm rooting for him. I don't like to see anybody in life down on their luck. I love an underdog story. Just not at my club for once. Just not at my club for once. And again, maybe if Neto or Sterling weren't here on loan, you could make a case of, yeah, you know what, Arsenal are going to grab him. Who knows? No risk, no reward for real, man. Rashford deadline day is looking more and more realistic. It's fair enough, no striker now if we go all out in the summer for Isaac. But Newcastle will probably get Champions League and then will cost 120 mil. The Isaac would be a dream, but at the end of the day, Newcastle are building something special. They're on course to get Champions League. They're trying to get him to sign a new deal. He's still got a healthy amount of time on his deal. So he could be, Arteta could chat to him and he's keen to sign for Arsenal. Arsenal could be keen to do the business. Newcastle have got to, Isaac could make a fuss. Newcastle have got to want to sell and we've got to be able to put down the P's. Like you've seen the ITK saying 100 million, which I think is a fair bid. But what if they say 120, 115? Are Arsenal gonna push it that far? Do they think that's realistic? And as I said, by all means, go after Isaac. If that's the one you want, go after that. But don't come here at the end of the market, tell me we tried for Isaac, so no one's there. Go and find something else. If you're in a club and you see a beautiful woman, you go to chat to her, she's not interested. There's a next beautiful one right there, and then there's a next one, and then there's a next one. Move on. So yeah, man. Osimhen loan, Santiago Jimenez, João Pedro. The thing is, I'm having João Pedro, and I know he can play up front. I'm having you in the squad, but I don't think you're necessarily the striker we need. I'm having you. You're playing. You can play up front. I think you'd be great for our team, but I don't really think you're you score goals in that, but I think you're so much more than a striker, but you're not quite a striker. It's kind of the same logic with Cunha. I'm having Cunha. Good players are always welcome, but I don't think you directly fix anything. I don't think you're a better creative 10 than Odegaard necessarily. I don't want to see you play as a 9 on a consistent basis. I'm having you off the left, but there's enough games and we need a squad, man. I want to do the Liverpool thing, really, if I'm honest with you, in that they've got a strong crop of attacking players, quote unquote, or everyone can get numbers. I know Liverpool fans, not all of them are convinced on Diaz. Darwin Núñez is different kind of player every week. Jota has got injury issues, but you get the point. That's what they've had. You look at our attacking ranks, none of them are reliable. They're not bad players. I don't think they're bad players, but who is really reliable like that? Saka. Kai Havertz has been a lot more consistent than a lot more of his teammates. But again, in terms of goal scoring, he does all the other things well. You're just not going to get the goals, and we're going to be here every week with him missing tap-ins. Trossard, I like him, but he's probably a bench boy, respectfully, a rotationary option, and I like him for that. Martinelli, got a lot of love for Martinelli. Goals and assists are a rarity, even though his last season was a struggle, but he's actually getting closer to that record. Who else is there? Got a lot of time for Gabriel Jesus, but we're at where we're at with him. Raheem Sterling's only going to be here for a year. Clearly, Arteta don't even rate Sterling, and when Sterling plays, it's a myth. We need, even if in an ideal world, you got that bad boy, 20 plus goal a season striker. You got someone that can put up Saka's numbers or even half. Kai Havertz, Trossard, they're in the mix. They're doing their thing. We look at our team, people. It's a bit weird in that I think we've fallen off a cliff defensively by our own standards, and that goes for the whole team. But they say defense wins titles, right? And goals win games. It's like we've built the title-winning defense with the Salibas, the Gabriels, the Ben Whites, the Timbers, Lewis-Skelly's coming to it, Raya, etc., etc. But then the strikers need to win. That can win you titles. And to be fair, our defenders have been scoring a lot of goals, as you saw against Wolves. But we don't have the players to win games. Sometimes we do it, but there's also going to be many times where we've had bare possession, more shots. There's been 3-4 real clear-cut chances, and the players haven't been clinical. It feels like whether we win, lose, or draw, we're kind of watching the same thing week in, week out. I actually believe that was the case against Wolves. Obviously, the Wolves game was dramatic. Both teams finished, smash the like button, people. Both teams finished with 10 men. Obviously, there was red cards, whether it should or shouldn't have been. Calafiori off the bench, dramatic late winner. But when you deep it in a positive way, this is what I see with my team. Like, we start well. We've got the opposition are penned in their own half. We're moving it. Again, we can talk about breaking down chances and creative, but we've got them penned in their own half. We're moving the ball around well. There's movement. We're kind of jabbing. We're not really putting them knockout blows, or we're not killing teams. Like, we're not. There's been, like, let's be real. The Wolves game, it should have been 2-3-0 in the first 20-30 minutes. And it's not that Wolves were bad. I think their defense was nervous. So it feels like I'm watching the same thing. It's like we're winning games on fine margins. It's like you see the Zagreb game, beyond the obvious of us just winning the game, clean sheet, everything. Just in terms of how it played out, like the tempo, we had a couple of chances and we scored. I think we had like 4 shots on. Don't quote me. I think we had like 4 to 6 shots on target, and we obviously scored 3 goals. So that shows in that game that's a decent conversion rate. That was a microcosm, in my opinion, of how week in, week out, in an ideal world, we probably as a club want the games to go for us. Unfortunately, an ideal world doesn't exist, and football don't work like that. And honestly, I think when you do or don't do certain things in the market, we signed up for this. And the wickedest thing is, I still think, like, speaking for myself, I've been consistent in a lot of the talking points I've spoken about since the summer. But, there's also positive, and I actually feel for the last 2-3 years, actually. But we're second, and there's so many positives around the club as much as there's negatives. We just need to make that final step up, man, which is jarring. I don't really rate Santiago Jimenez for what it's worth. It seems like he's going to AC Milan. Osimhen, for all the talk about break clauses in the Galatasaray deal, anything can happen. And maybe things are happening in the back burners, but Arsenal, Chelsea, Man United, all these teams that were linked with him in the summer, they didn't go for him in the summer, or no one went for him because nobody had it on their bingo card. He was going to be playing in the Turkish division. And right now, 28 days into the new year, maybe I don't know anything, which I don't, because I'm just here with you lot. But it don't look like any of these Premier League clubs or the top European clubs have inquired or said to Napoli, yeah, we'll have him break that up at Galatasaray. I don't know, man. I really don't know. I don't know. Are Delap and Duran major risk compared to signing no one? Havertz looked on the verge of injury at the end of Wolves. And that's, Charlie, I'm with that. That's what I think we need reinforcements, because obviously when you got a small squad, the Declan Rices, the Kai Havertzes, you know, the Gabriels, the guys that are there on a regular basis, you're going to run them into the ground. And we could listen, talking about Kai Havertz, he's getting redundant, but he looks, even him, like a guy that typically plays week in, week out. I know he's missed 1-2 games with the flu, but he looks spent, you know, like he genuinely looks spent, bro. Like he looks injured. I'm injured, sorry. He looks tired, he looks knackered. And we're only in January. Think about all the talking points, everything. Because I can remember ironically, I can remember the Wolves game, first game of the season. Think about the journey, people. Going out the FA Cup, the disappointment in the League Cup, the whole beef with City and with them at the Emirates on Sunday, we need to smash them in. You know, the whole talking points around Liverpool, Aston Villa away, the smash and grab, the Champions League and whatnot. We've seen a lot. Gabriel Jesus not scoring in the League Cup, and then he's bagging against Crystal Palace. It's a week as a long time in football, and we're only in January. I don't know if it's the halfway point, but quote unquote the halfway point of the season. Duran is a shooter, don't get me wrong. He's a bad boy striker, but I think he won't do well. Like, I haven't seen his hold-up play. Plus, Arteta attacks your... Plus, with Arteta, your attack is your first defense. I hear you with that, yeah. But surely in the modern day, like with what we face now, bar the exception of a few teams, and you probably even see Amarin do it soon at United, that's the case of everyone. You have to press it in this day and age. You have to be able to do that. I think his hold-up play is decent. He's obviously a bit of a raw campus, but there's scope to get better. And how would he do with regular football? And big up Kai Havertz, because you can argue all the other facets of what a striker is demanded. Kai does well, but ultimately a striker's got to score goals, man. And can you convincingly say Duran's not the guy? I don't believe this Duran. We'll go over it, but I don't believe this Duran stuff. I don't think he's the first choice, but you see guys like Duran beyond the obvious, yeah? These are the sort of man that Arsenal should be getting. Guys that have some sort of experience and grounding. If you can just polish them up, next level settings. A bit like what we did with Gabriel Magalhaes, technically Odegaard as well. Plenty of other examples. Well, there's not plenty, but you get the point. To add to that, he's one of my favorite strikers in the league. I don't know what it is. I just think he's got... I don't want to use buzzwords like X Factor and all that, but I just think Duran's got something about him. Sorry, people. Like, he's got a positive chip on his shoulder, man. Obviously, I think strikers need that, man. Ruud van Nistelrooy had that, Henry had that, Anelka had that. Half of the gunman strikers that we've seen, Ian Wright had that. They've got that, a bit of an attitude issue. I know we're getting into mucky waters when we start talking about certain people and attitude issues and all of that, but you get the point, man. Big club, small mentality. At least that's what it seems. I wouldn't say we're complacent. I just think those above Mikel Arteta are comfortable. We're comfortable to be back in the Champions League. We're comfortable to be second. We're comfortable to see all those positives. I just think we're just comfortable to just keep ticking over. I don't feel there's a real push to want. I think Arteta wants to win the league, and my question for him is how we're going to buy it and what you're doing in the market, etc. But pardon me for all his faults, but I just don't think we're so close. We're flirting with it. You need to get over the line, man. Who do you want us to get? I have no clue, man. Like, I'm quite easy, man. I don't have a clue. There's a couple of guys I would take if we're taking chances on unknown players. I might. Like that. Is he at Lyon? No, Strasbourg. There's a 21-year-old striker, but I don't know if you've got it in you. Lorient got that guy as well. We spoke about him. I always forget their names, but the young 20-year-old. He's not a striker, but Ryan Cherky. I mean, I just want us to do something, man. We're definitely not signing Duran. If Arteta likes Sesko so much, but they don't want to sell in Jan, but would in the summer, why not just offer an extra 10, 20 million? I just don't get. I hear that. You're not necessarily wrong. But from a business point of view, does that make sense? I'm not saying it's right, but does that make sense? If you know in the summer, which you probably didn't expect to get a striker in January anyways, knowing what you should have done last summer, from a business point of view, if you know he's going to be available for 50, 60, 70 million, why would you be 20 more? I'm not saying that's wrong, just being devil's advocate. From Sky Sports News, Arsenal have officially... Oh, hey, let's go. Let me go on Sky Sports News. We know what yet. And I was getting scared. I thought you lot weren't going to do that, you know. I really thought you lot weren't going to do that. I was getting upset. I was getting really upset there. Really, really upset. Can't let our young G go out like that. Apparently, like somebody said, big up yourself, yay. Miles Lewis-Skelly red card. Arsenal appeal defenders dismissal against Wolves after Mikel Arteta left fuming. You lot are pricks. Like this is why the media is dangerous. Yeah, Mikel Arteta is fully justified, like everybody, even people that got no connection to Arsenal. Micah Richards, Alan Shearer, blood. Mike Dean was saying it's not a red card. For those fans older than me and my age, Mike Dean, the crimes that man committed against Arsenal Football Club and Arsene Wenger and everything else, and you were defo in Sir Alex Ferguson's pocket. He was saying it's a yellow at most. So why can't Arteta be fuming? But where did you see Arteta fuming? They even zooming in of him. I can't lie. Mikel Arteta defo gave a death stare to the referee after the game. But they're even doing the most after that. But even after the game, what did he say? And Arteta's got every reason to be peed off. We've been here before. Didn't he get charged against Newcastle? I do think Arsenal fans have a victim mentality and a conspiracy theorist and, always looking for the refs and that. We'll also believe refs are human and people make mistakes. I do think we are ref differently, though. And I do think specifically to Mr. Michael Oliver, there's something in that. There's something in that. You did the track record's there. Even if I think you're malice against Arsenal, I think you've got something against us because you're a human being. You're not a beacon of hope. You're not an angel. If we all jumped in this refereeing thing, I might referee Arsenal. Let's just say I'm the Arsenal referee. I think Saka's a diver. So he's been tripped in the box and it's a legitimate penalty. My unconscious bias is to not give it. I think Martinelli's an honest player. He stays on his feet, etc. He goes down. He might have actually dived. I give it. So what's going on? You can criticize managers. You can criticize fans. You can criticize technical directors, sporting directors, owners, players, coaching staff. Even we live in a day and age where everybody's sitting there and talking about Nicholas Hover and the Sky Sports are panning to him and whatnot. But you can't ask questions of the refs. For this league that's meant to have the biggest and best players, managers, etc. Do you really think, and it's not just Arsenal, it's the whole league, consistently these decisions that we're talking about? Do you really think this is a coincidence? It's there on purpose. We're talking about it, adds to the entertainment product. It is now Tuesday. This happened on Saturday. We're still waffling about it. We should be appealing this. But yeah, apparently Arsenal have appealed against Lewis-Skelly's red card. Arteta should be fuming, but even his post-games comments, he didn't even say too much. He did also say that's for the club to decide what is the best decision. It's obvious that maybe we don't even need to put in a appeal. As I said, I tweeted it and I said I shouldn't be disappointed with PGMOL. They're like a cartel. They're protecting their guy. Anyways, I didn't even think it needed to get to a appeal stage. I thought it would have been like Bruno Fernandes. You lot come out and say we got it wrong. What's going on with VAR? I don't know. Make no mistake, it is a yellow card. It is. But whether it's in the Wolves game, which ironically, there's plenty of questions around a straight red versus the two yellows. How many times week in, week out at Arsenal Football Club and other fans, you watch 2 games of football, the same thing, the same identical incident with 2 outcomes. And ironically, I know Gary O'Neill isn't at Wolves. Do you know how many decisions have gone against Wolves? Do you know how many week in, week out, the fuckery, pardon my language, I see Joe Linton get away with, especially against my club? And you think Arsenal fans got a problem where I can't remember exactly everything, but we have been told PGMOL have come out before and said we forgot to draw lines. You lot are making us move crazy and then telling us we're crazy. And I don't get it twisted. I do think there's an element of this. But I do think Arsenal fans are victims. But you can't tell us there's nothing in this. You can't. Again, where Michael Oliver is concerned, nobody wants death threats, and every decent man and woman and human being doesn't advocate that. But I think that's become the biggest talking point. We condemn that. Social media need to do something about that, same way they need to do something about that for racism. Back to the main point, though. Stop trying to do this victim thing. You made a mistake, you effed up, ask questions. But anyways, man, Arteta did say he was really happy. To be fair, we don't need to read any of this, but apparently video evidence supports decision. PGMOL's position on the incident is the challenge is extremely late and the point of contact is high, and video evidence supports that conclusion. I don't know if this is true, but social media was saying if it's an appeal, it goes to a third party. So PGMOL won't be reviewing this. And even though Bruno Fernandes is one, what was that, against Spurs or something? They're saying that, smash the like button, that wasn't a red card. Apparently went to an independent panel and of former players. And apparently Bruno actually just about won that. Like the votes were quite close. So maybe you have to apply an Arsenal tax, people. Obviously, Lewis-Skelly shouldn't be upset. Calafiori, we know it's not already. So yellow card, keep it moving. And they double effed up. Because if anything, it should have been a yellow card. Maybe he gets 2 yellows like João Gomez. Maybe he doesn't. So in that game, there's a lack of consistency. All I'm saying is refs should be held accountable, you know. And what did I say in my last stream? Yeah, only referees get to fail upwards. I literally said he's gonna get, because he's managed I won't say low level game, because it's the Premier League. Every game's a cup final. Arsenal are trying to keep the title challenge alive. Wolves are fighting for their lives. But in the grand scheme of things, Arsenal versus Wolves is probably not the most viewed game on the planet, right? He gets rewarded this. Now he's come out that he's gonna be reffing the North London, not the North London, the Merseyside derby, which on paper, that is a game from, you know, where it's difficult. And then you come out and then you go back to last year where, he sent off Martinelli a few years ago for 2 contentious yellows. But you go back to last year where Kovacic has absolutely gone down the back of Declan Rice and Odegaard, said he didn't want to ruin the game. The only referees or any former referees that are 100% honest are those that just are on TV to a degree. Because you've got Howard Webb going to come out and cap. You've got Dermot Gallagher going to come out and talk nonsense. Hey, out of all them former referees, from Mike Dean said something. That's the only one I didn't hear. Life is tough as an Arsenal fan, people. But for Spurs, it's tougher. Don't forget they won the league in September. I don't want to hear it. And I'm so happy the nice guy, I like Postecoglou, but the nice guy antics, everybody see through it now. It's a madness. They've lost the same amount of games in the Premier League this season alone than Arsenal in the last 3. Should always count your blessings. Arsenal are expected to use Bruno Fernandes's overturned red card earlier this season as part of any appeal against Lewis-Skelly's controversial sending off against Wolves, people. That's what Sammy Moltbell said, people. Arsenal giving clear instructions to appeal ban. So, yeah, obviously, I thought we'd talk about this, but there's obviously a somewhat time constraint as to when we had to have filed that appeal. Apparently, it was by 1 p.m. One of you obviously said it. It's now 3 minutes past 1. So, yeah, we got that in. So, yeah, man, hopefully we win that appeal, people. So, yeah, everybody's saying the same things on that note. Again, nobody wants referees to be abused. But, again, it's gone, let's be real, it's gone to a woe is me thing. It's gone from, yes, you just effed up. Now it's a woe is me, that he is a human, but humanizing. It's nonsense. And then you've even got a couple Daily Mail journalists chatting nonsense as well, people. Absolute chatting nonsense, man. Like, yeah, you should be doing that. But yeah, he's taking charge of Ipswich versus Southampton as well as a Merseyside derby. Ipswich versus Southampton, both teams are fighting for their lives. I know refs make mistakes in that, but are you really telling me we can't decrease that? And is there refs all over the world make mistakes, but is there a correlation with the fact that you get foreign players, or you whether it's homegrown or foreign players or owners, is quote unquote is irrelevant? Why is it just British referees? That's why they're protecting their own. It's the best. You've got complete job security. You're allowed to fuck up and you get rewarded higher. You got Howard Webb coming out and protecting you. So editing, get some foreign refs in. Boy, anywho, exactly. And then apparently, when you even look at the death threats, which we do not accept, we condemn that. We don't condone that. Any decent human being. They were not that I care if it's from Arsenal, United fans, but they were from weeks ago. You see how the media is a dangerous tool. If you don't know what Project Mockingbird is, go and research that, people. That's your homework, as well as smashing the like button. And like this account said, they told us they forgot to draw lines. Like best league in the world. It's incompetence. It's incompetence. And he's going to referee this weekend as well, people. And as I said, I don't lie to you, he's doing up the Merseyside derby, in which way, I'm not going to lie, right is right, wrong is wrong, but that's in some mistakes in Liverpool's way, man. David Moyes, I know you got something for me in that game. Again, people, I'm not going to read this for you, but I was literally just reading this article earlier today about, as I said, I don't think there's a crazy conspiracy against Arsenal. I think there's an unconscious bias, and I think Michael Oliver has an agenda. I don't know for the whole refereeing world, you've got an agenda against Arsenal Football Club. There's plenty of incidences, man. Plenty of incidences. Whether it's the Trossard one, where you don't, if you're gonna yellow card and second yellow card, man, as Arteta said at that point, I've got no issue. But people are gonna get sent off every week. The same goes for Declan Rice. Declan Rice and Trossard, I actually think, for what it's worth, you lot played a dangerous game. I don't think you have a leg to stand on. but I want consistency because then people are getting sent off every week. Kovacic, how you bust case, I don't know. We all obviously were talking about Lewis-Skelly. We all remember what happened with Martinelli a few years ago. There's one rule for one and then the other, and even David, well, I'm not even going to get into it. We've all seen the whole news around that. No, do what you're doing, innit? Away from that, though, people, purely on a footballing basis, allegedly. Now, apparently, Mikel Arteta is to give his press conference at 7 p.m. UK time. Apparently, we've been given a double fitness boost ahead of, the Girona game and obviously Manchester City on the weekend. Martin Odegaard and Mikel Moreno both trained on Tuesday. We all know Odegaard was actually with the squad and had to go because of illness, while Moreno suffered a minor injury in training last week. The injury's been rocking up for Moreno on a sly one, innit? Now, Fabrizio Romano did say, what I'm told is that Arsenal made a call in recent weeks to understand the situation of Duran, but there's been no direct negotiations with Aston Villa, which is a shame. Haven is going to Man United. Go and do your thing. We wish you all the best, but it's irrelevant now. Apparently, he rejected Barcelona, Frankfurt, as well as staying at Arsenal. He's considered a first team signing and considered competition / cover for Lisandro Martinez. That's what that ITK said. If that's that, then fair enough. You're in the first team. Go do your thing. Wish you all the best, but nothing else to say on that. And yeah, everybody's saying all of these things, people. Now, if we look at what David Ornstein has said on The Athletic, where Arsenal's concerned, people, where is Arsenal, mate? Well, let's focus on Duran. Ooh, you know what? I keep forgetting that Aston Villa signed John Duran. Signed Daniel Marlin. Apologies. Apparently, last week, Aston Villa turned down a proposal worth 57 million from West Ham for Duran. With ongoing interest from sides in the Premier League across Europe and Saudi, it is conceivable that Duran leaves before the market concludes on the 3rd of February. A firm decision has yet to be made, but should bids of around 80 million arrive for the 21-year-old Colombian international, whose goals to minute ratio is among the finest around, and it suits all parties, a switch is certainly possible. Now, obviously, this XG and shots ratio and all of these things, they're obviously going to be screwed a bit because he's got less minutes. Now, if he was to play consistent 90 minutes, they'll still look good, but they probably won't look as sexy as they probably do. Nonetheless, 21 years of age, you've shown me that I'm on it. 80 million, is it worth it, people? Let me know your thoughts, man. If Duran does not depart on this occasion, his age and quality mean it could well happen in the not too distant future for a greater fee. Watkins, by contrast, is 29. So even that, in an ideal world, Villa want to hold on to him, but it is what it is. Apparently, Villa's dilemma is certainly a topic to keep a close eye before the deadline, and the club are also worth observing in relation to João Felix. I mean, Emre wanted him before he joined Chelsea. Brighton are open to a loan exit for Ferguson if it suits all parties. There's interest from the likes of West Ham, Bournemouth, and a host of Premier League clubs around the situation. I'm waiting to see how long we get linked with Dominic Calvert-Lewin, if I'm honest with you. Where is the Arsenal stuff? Okay. Arsenal stepped up their transfer activity this week by officially joining the race to sign 18-year-old Rosenborg midfielder Nepan. Nepan is a coveted talent, and there's interest in him from both the Premier League and La Liga. He has been watched by a host of clubs across the continent, but the ones that appear most interested in signing him this window are Aston Villa and Girona. Nepan has been in England this week, where he attended Man City versus Chelsea as a guest of Erling Haaland. They're both countrymen, and they've got the same agent as well, people. Oh, what happened here? 1 second. We're still here. Come on, people. 61 likes. Can we get to 100? You lot are boying it, man. Smash the like button. Apparently, with the Norwegian League currently in off-season, Napan is expected to decide on his future before the international transfer deadline of February the 1st. For now, the situation remains open. Arsenal's proposal includes Napan joining up with their first-team squad immediately. Napan having returned to Norway, Arsenal await Napan's decision. Having felt they're well positioned to sign the teenager, they are now hoping they have not been beaten to the punch by another suitor. Do Arsenal have the green light to sign off forward? We all know Arteta said he's actively looking, and he's obviously with Saka and Jesus injured. We're down to our bare bones. Apparently, Arsenal's board are prepared to spend if they find a striker who they feel can raise the level of the squad. We've heard this too many times to care at this moment. At the moment, the emphasis is more on a centre forward than a wide player, with Kai Havertz urgently in need of competition and cover. Now, that's interesting, because I thought, yeah, you'd want to get a striker, but you're more open to like an inside forward and then part the striker off until the summer. But Isaac is a myth. Sesko is a myth. John Duran, if you're not putting the 80 million down, to us, that's a myth. So unless you're scouting and you're finding the John Duran before he's at Aston Villa, the Isak before he's at Newcastle, the Sesko before he's at Leipzig, and you get where I'm going. And you've got some target that we don't know. Bob's your uncle, people. But for what it's worth, with long-term targets Sesko and Isak appearing to be out of reach, Arsenal exploring a number of different options. Arteta would like to add a player who is capable of making an immediate impact. As you know, it looks like Zinchenko could be moved on, people. Zinchenko, I know it's different circumstances, but considering how it started for Zinchenko and the talk around Tierney, technically Tierney's shelf life for this season is going to be longer than Zinni's. Or since we've become Premier League title challengers and inverted fullbacks, Tierney's outlasted Zinchenko. And big up, it came to nothing, but big up Kieran Tierney for one of the crosses he put on against Wolves, man. Apparently, Tierney is in talks with Celtic about a pre-contract agreement that would become effective upon the expiration of his Arsenal deal this summer. Zinchenko, however, would command a fee which could be vital for Arsenal as they look to balance the books while strengthening their attack. For now, Dortmund remain the most interested party. You've seen half-hearted Atletico Madrid links. Aiden is going to Man United, as we know. He was at Man United's game against Rangers. Wish him all the best. I mean, no one don't care about no one else's transfer news, so that appears to be that. A possible gentleman's agreement involving Sesko could make him Arsenal's most realistic striker target, according to Charles Watts. Let's see. What specifically have you said, Mr. Watts? Despite the strength of the links, I wouldn't say it's a certainty that Sesko and Isak are the only two strikers on Arsenal's list of targets over the next 12 months. They can't be, or we're in trouble. Both are obviously forwards they admire greatly. We've known that for some time, but there will be other options out there that they're thinking about. Gyökeres, for example, is another player we all know has been watched over the past 12 months. Sesko still feels like the most likely one for me, I have to say. His decision to stay at Leipzig in the summer and sign a new deal did not put Arsenal off. In fact, it's a decision we know they understood whilst obviously being disappointed. The belief is that there's a gentleman's agreement between Sesko and Leipzig that he could leave this summer for the amount that would certainly be achievable for Arsenal. Now, I hear that. In an ideal world, people's words mean everything. People stand on their words. But doing, as you lot know, and speaking are two different things. And the exchange rate doesn't always exchange. Talk is cheap. In business, it's cutthroat. If it is not in cold-hearted writing, I's dotted, T's crossed, you can leave for this. What does that mean? Because I'm not saying you should, but if you're Leipzig and you're saying Sesko can go for 60 million and his form is great, and you know, in time that passes, his form's great. Let's just say Arsenal, Chelsea, Man United are all fighting it out for him because these three clubs have been interested. Aren't you going to sit there and go, right, you know what? They're three British clubs. Man United got money, Chelsea got money, Arsenal got money. Let's bump up the price. I don't know, people, how far a gentleman's agreement goes in the world of business. And in terms of transfers, that is business. So right now, it feels like will the route, I can't even see right now. So right now, it feels like that will be the route they try to go down. The big challenge, however, will be convincing Sesko that he'll get plenty of game time should he decide to make the move, something they were unable to do last summer. I don't feel anyone should be given guarantees. I do think Arsenal are very naive if you're sitting there and telling striking partner targets that they're not going to play ahead of Kai Havertz. But what I would say is I'm a fan of Sesko, as you lot know. If you genuinely look, again, I understand the rhetoric around wanting to stay, obviously at Leipzig, develop, etc. I understand that, but part that off for a sec. If you're genuinely looking at this Arsenal project and thinking, wow, they've got good young players, the Premier League, London, Arteta's improved players. If you genuinely looked at all of that and said, bro, I can't play. I don't think I'm going to play instead of Kai Havertz. You meant to be gunman striker, someone that isn't a striker per se. I'm looking at you funny. Because you should have thought I could take his spot if I'm honest, but I'm being silly, people. So we'll have to see. Charles Watts also said the interest in Isak has been spoken about, but it looks like such a difficult deal to be able to do even at the end of the season. The Swedish striker will still have 3 years left on his deal, and the price Newcastle will demand for him just feels incredibly difficult for Arsenal to be able to hit. It also looks like Newcastle will be qualified for Europe, which would make things even more difficult. Exactly. So we could want him as much as we want. They could, you know, Arteta could want him as much as he wants. Isak could want to make the move. If you're not going to pay something stupid, forget it. It's done. So it's just going to remain a dream. So while he may be the dream target for Arteta, it's tough not to see it as a bit unrealistic. Sesko feels much more gettable, which is why I still believe he's the most likely addition ahead of next season. Fair play. Arsenal fear Nepan will join Girona, part of the City football group, and perhaps later move on to City. But what is this? What article is supposed to be here? No clue, but here he is. We all know Gabriel Magalhaes needs to sign a new deal. Apparently, Arsenal are continuing talks over a new deal for Magalhaes, people. Remember when people said Arteta would replace him? Fair enough. Probably been one of the best signings under Mikel Arteta, really. 27 million. I wonder how much he's worth now. Apparently, Arsenal have no issues renewing his contract. The 27-year-old remains in talks with the North London club over a new deal. Where's the time gone? I still always think Gabriel Magalhaes is 22. He's actually 27. However, there's nothing concrete at this stage. An agreement between the two parties remains quite far apart, although it's understood that should Arsenal accelerate these talks, a deal would likely be struck. Arsenal will be relaxed about the situation for now, as the Brazilian will have 2 years remaining on his contract this summer. And obviously, Saliba's contract expires in 2027. We've also heard that we're trying to get both Ethan and Lewis-Skelly improved deals and on new terms, people. So it is what it is. That's not relevant for us. Arsenal are contemplating a late loan offer for West Ham's top transfer targets. Well, we can't. This is lazy journalism. We can't get Ferguson on loan unless something changes with our loan options already, or you buy him permanently. What are we talking about? We know we've been linked with Vlahovic, Sesko, Osim, and at this point, it's the same names, people. Duran's been linked with us before, but it feels like at the very least, that's a new one that's kind of been thrown in. And it's nice to put different players in the thumbnails. Smash the like button, people. Arsenal have made call to sign a striker who's now worth over 100 million. Well, we've heard this before, people. But Romano on it said, for Duran, let me tell you something. West Ham had a bid rejected, interest from several clubs around Europe. What I'm told is Arsenal made a call in recent weeks to understand the situation of Duran because Sesko at the moment, no green light from Leipzig. Also, is that the dream target for Arsenal? Super expensive, very complicated. Impossible is nothing in football, but very complicated. So in recent weeks, Arsenal also called to understand the situation of Duran, but no bid, no direct negotiations with Aston Villa. El Nasser want Duran, but Aston Villa insist on their position. They want to keep the player. So let's see what's going to happen and if maybe a crazy proposal can change their position for Duran. Now, at what point, do you switch it up and say, Duran's 80 million, Aston Villa don't want to sell. Isak's a dream. My man, what's his name? Sesko, he's not leaving. At what point do you go for Gyökeres? I don't know what's going on there. At what point do you go, the striker thing isn't going to happen. Let's just pivot towards an attacking player and then put the groundworks to get in this striker, whoever it is in the summer. I don't know. It's easy for me to comment because I'm just an armchair expert. But yeah, I'm tired of being told Isak's a dream. We love the guy. We all know he's a dream. But yeah, man. Yesterday, apparently, we submitted a bid of 70 million for Sesko. And then we also heard Chelsea are in talks to sign Sesko as well. So it's whisper season, people. It really is. We all know we face competition to sign Cunha if we were to sign Cunha. Arsenal, Newcastle, Man United, Tottenham Hotspur, as well as Arsenal have all been linked with Cunha, people. So we'll see. We've gone over Lewis-Skelly. Romano said, I'm sure that in private, they're working hard. We'll try to find out who they want to bring in. Obviously, the dream target remains Isak, but this is not a player who'll be leaving in January. We've gone over the Tierney stuff. Anyone having Karim Adeyemi? Apparently Chelsea and Liverpool are getting interested. Apparently he's put Napoli talks on hold. Spurs and Arsenal apparently are both willing to pay the 48.5 release clause for Nico Williams. But does he want to leave his boyhood club mid-season? I'm not sure. Apparently Vlahovic has rejected a move to the Middle East. We all know we've been linked with him. Have you not seen this kit? This is apparently our third kit for next season. Again, until it's confirmed, we don't know. But does look quite decent, doesn't it? We're on the lookout for Ferguson, as we've gone over. Now, for those of you that like Jarell Hato of Ajax, apparently he was at Anfield for their recent game. Liverpool are starting to aggressively be linked with him, as they probably need that long-term Van Dijk replacement. And Real Madrid, after missing out on Lenny Euro, have been interested in him. So, yeah, we'll have to see. If you're an audio person, people, don't forget to follow on Spotify. And also, again, people, don't forget, because a lot of you like to forget, we'll be doing a watch along tomorrow for the Girona game. So yeah, let me get back to the comments. I thought, let me get over that stuff, man. This whole first target thing is getting silly. Why would you risk Sesko number one target in an open market in the summer? How much do they think they might save? His value could increase. It's the risk you take. Spurs and Arsenal, the same club, just a different color. Right, you reckon? I'll take your word for that, man. We got a lot of problems, but therefore not Spurs. We actually got trophies. If football ends tomorrow, we've given something. And they should thank us, really, because North London would be irrelevant from a footballing perspective. But I hear it, man. Cool story, my brother. We need a temporary striker until the summer, and we bag Gyökeres right now. Take Rashford to get over the line, but will he perform for real? I don't think Isaac is the one we'll have. I don't think Isaac is the one we'll have to overpay heavy. You're gonna play Rashford through the middle. Fair enough. Fair enough. Havertz and Jesus both on 300 and 250. Tell me who you're going to sign. You tell me who we're going to sign. Clearly, like I don't think we're signing Gyökeres. I don't think because of the wages that those players are on that Arsenal won't sign a player between now and the summer. But I'll take your word for it. That's why Havertz has never been a winning player. He's a luxury player. I'd have to beg the question: what luxury is that? If Kai's one of those, and he's literally a Champions League winner, man. If we're doing well, he thrives. If we're struggling, he will not bail you out. To be fair to him, his performances in the second half of last season was good. I do think he's one of those players that stand up to be counted. But unfortunately, at best, Kai Havertz is a squad player. He's not someone that's going to make the difference. And if you're looking at him to make the difference, like, don't get twisted. The man's a professional footballer. Whether you're a striker, defender or not, if you're consistently missing tap-ins, there's issues. But we know what Kai is. Forget what he did at Chelsea, because you could say that we know what Kai is. He's not going to be clinical. So if you keep putting in him, if one, he's the guy you're going to have to live or die by, and you keep putting him in circumstances where we're talking about this, at what point do we have to look at other factors than just Kai Havertz? And realistically, whether I think Kai Havertz is the guy or not, he's been a lot more consistent generally in his Arsenal career than a lot of our attackers. So that has to ask questions of Mikel Arteta, the players that Kai, as I said, is doing more than, and what we're really trying to do, because it's a fallacy to be in a title race with Kai Havertz leading the line. Like, I'm not saying you can't chip in and play and he's rubbish and all of that, but it's a fallacy. You were living in Delulu land if you were sitting there and saying, oh, you know what, off the back of last season, he could do it for a full year. All them tacticals and that were chatting shit, falling for that next Van Persie stuff. The guy's a fighter, he's a good squad player, but again, if you want to win the league, you can't play up front. You can chip in, but I wouldn't describe Kai as a luxury player. Like, what kind of luxury is that? Like, really and truly. Bit harsh. Because one thing I'll give him, he mucks down. Arsenal don't win anything. Yeah, I hear it, man. You're just capping, man. You're just chatting shit now. But hey, look, Ray, your comments are on screen, man. Just make sure you smash the like button. It is what it is. So many ways to rebuttal your stance, but I can't be asked to make yourself look silly. You lot are chatting to a troll, bro. Just make sure you smash the like button. In my opinion, I don't think we're getting Duran. Arsenal don't make common sense signings. We ain't signing anyone, in my opinion. That's a factor. I do think Saliba will be going Real Madrid one day. I love Duran's arrogance. It don't look like we're getting anyone. Attitude wins you games. Most of the elite strikers in the past have been confident. Half of the teams, man, like nice guys finish last. And I'm not criticizing any of our players. I do think they got mentality, but there's a lot of nice guys. I don't know why I always remember this, but I remember Craig Bellamy when he went to Liverpool. He said, I'm not here to make friends. I'm here to win shit. That's the attitude. That's the attitude you need. Boniface going Saudi, Jimenez going Milan. We could use both. Boniface getting paid, man. If the whole squad was over 30, we'd be... Oh, you lot, man. What are you lot reacting to, man? You lot stop replying to idiots, man, because I'm putting them on screen. Mike Dean loves Spurs. Arteta was calm. How can they say left fuming? Mind games. Trying to get people to click, man. That's the thing. If you tell the truth, it's not going to sell. Man's got a million tabs open. Allow me. How am I going to keep a track record of this? Tab police are always out in full effect, man. Is it not strange that we are living in a world with top-notch tech yet, and they still can't be held accountable even when error is clear as day? I don't want no one to lose their job due to AI. Yeah. But if there is a position I would love to see people lose their jobs in relation to football, VAR referees, make a robot do that. Everyone else, keep the dinner ladies, keep the people that give that sell the programs outside the grounds, keep all of that. Get rid of them. We need to be more nasty like Bergkamp. But is that a deflection? No. What socials does he even have? I don't know what socials he's got. I just feel it is mind games, because yes, every normal human being on this earth, death threats, all that jazz that they're saying, nobody wants it. But again, part that off is taking things away. It's taking things away. If I'm honest with you, thoughts on the Q interview? I didn't give it no time. Like, big him up, brave, big him up. I think he's trying to gear. I think he's doing away from what he came out with. I think he's trying to do the victim thing to get back reffing in the Prem. But yeah, man, there was no way I was listening to that. Van Dijk, come on, they got away with so many challenges. For a red card with no prior verbal warning, it has to be the most heinous of crimes. Studs to the frigging kidneys. And ain't this the same brother? Speaking of studs to places, ain't that ref the same brother that when Doku muted my man McAllister? It's not making sense. Window is closing fast. I don't think we're making a move for a striker, guys. But Duran ain't worth 80 mil. Is anyone worth half of these signings in this day and age anymore, though, man? Is anyone worth anything? We got 88 likes. People are flirting with 100. Arsenal's season is already over. No signing, only rumours at Arsenal. But everyone gets abused at their job, even cashiers. Facts deluded, hiding behind hurty words and mental health boy needs to hold slaps. And that's the thing, like, they're making that the talking point. Like, most normal people condemn that, don't condone that. We hope you get all the help. Your family don't deserve that. But okay, that doesn't take away from anything. It doesn't. It's mitigating factors potentially, but it doesn't take away from the Wolves game. So yeah. Right. And even that, if I'm cynical, the David Coote thing is come out at the same time the Michael Oliver thing. They're obviously human, but humanizing refs and whatnot. It's mind games. I mean, you could see the video that came out, like when he got caught saying all that with Klopp. It's like when Philip Schofield came out, like, really? You lot, like, nobody saw this before? Big him up, you know, all inclusive on this platform and that. But yeah, you could see, like, this is nothing new. Like, unconscious bias is correct, not conspiracy. And this is the thing, Ash. Like, evidently, if you're not a robot, you've got unconscious biases. These refs have their own thoughts. I'd assume, obviously, they didn't with the scandalous decisions that go against all clubs. I don't think these referees have played football at any level, let alone professional. But I'd assume they're fans of the game, or they all grew up being like football fans and whatever. You have your own way of seeing things. Like, you watch football, you've grown up with football. You have your, you know, you're working with players, like, because essentially that's your job. You know what players and managers are really like. It's like in any walk of life. Obviously, if there's someone that in your workplace that you hate and someone that you like, depending on what they ask you to do, there's going to be very different energies around it. Like, they're human. There's always this holier than now. They might make mistakes, you know. See Wenger's past comments about refs being against Arsenal, but it's part of the history, man. 80 million for Duran, no point. I'd rather wait and break the bank for Isaac, assuming we can get that one over the line. When you're winning in life, you don't care about losers. So why are Arsenal important to you? They're not even Madrid's level. You lot got time, man. You lot got time, man. You lot got time. You're actually replying to the trolls. Duran, I think we'll go Chelsea with Zhao the other way. I'm with that. I hear you with the Duran's not worth 80 million, yeah. But that's only, like, in this day and age, it's silly fees. The man's 21 and probably only going to get better. So there's that factor. Why isn't he? And, you know, 80 million, 65 million for the man playing up front at the moment. I'm not saying it's wrong. I think 80 million is a bit steep. But, the striker market's dead. He signed a new deal. Aston Villa is mid-season. They're under no pressure to sell Donny. They hold all the aces. At this point. Bring anyone in. How could people want Duran and not Sesko? That's a bit mad. Maybe they'll take 57 mil plus Havertz. Give them 70. Duran, Sesko. They brought Duran for 40 million from MLS. 80 mil is a pipe dream. They're going to make a prof, man. Quick prof. You see why scouting? And that's the thing. Like, I'm a hypocrite. Because if we get linked with guys that are not household names, we're all going to say, who are they? Like, are they good enough? But half of these guys, they got to start somewhere. In the summer, whether you support Arsenal or whatever club, we're going to be some of the guys that we say in our striker targets, they got to start somewhere. No one was talking about signing Gyökeres up until the last 18 months or so. There was a point no one knew what Vlahovic was. No one knew what a Duran was. Only West Ham, I would say, were onto it in the Premier League. There was a point where people oomed and ahed about Isaac. My point being, sometimes just do your homework, mate, and take a chance. I'd rather Sesko. Leipzig would sell him if we offered 80. But the club clearly reckon they can get him for less if that is the case in the summer. Too many clubs are interested in the plan. Can't see us getting him, honestly. If we get him, great. If not, boy, I like Duran, but 80, 70, 60 mil for him is too much. 60 mil is too much. That's harsh. Nepan is a mobile youth like Yalmao. This Nepal youth is mobile. Like, is he Yalmao or something? I would be very careful about getting him involved in that. DG is creeping closer to 70k. Help him get to it, people. Hit the sub button. It's free. Appreciative, my dude. Sesko is a great addition. You man are too picky when you have Kai Havertz. The guy can shoot, but his overall game is rubbish. Sometimes you won't even know he's in the pitch. I hear that. Could say that about Haaland. Obviously, he's not Haaland. Get Duran and sell Havertz this summer. It's easy to say, okay, I'm not saying that I'm going to cry if we sell Havertz, but it's easy to sit there and say sell Havertz. There's got to be a market. It's easy to sit here and say sell Gabriel Jesus, sell Havertz, sell this one, sell that one. There has to be a market for these guys. And Kai, I'm not saying this to gas him up, but he's one of them. Maybe from a moral point of view, might go back to Leipzig. I genuinely feel he always ends up, for some reason, Chelsea bought him, or somehow Arsenal bought him. It's like, whether I don't know why I think this, and it's not necessarily ability, but he just feels he's one of those weird footballers that end up at like Bayern or PSG. Like, for some reason, they just stay around there. Because we might have him in a certain view, but the way Thomas Tuchel, Nagelsmann, Arteta, managers that ain't even managed him, the way they speak about him, whether I believe it or not, the perception for us common fans and the perception in the real world of football, boy, I don't know. Sesko is a project. He's not much better than Havertz at this point. Hell, Havertz was a better baller in Bundesliga. Fair enough. We don't have time for development. All big sides have a world-class striker, but we want to win the trophy. Being devil's advocate, does Liverpool have a world-class striker? Keyword, you said world-class striker. Does Liverpool have a world-class striker? They got a world-class player in Saka. I'm just being devil's advocate. I'm not saying you're wrong. We have appealed the MLS red card decision. Hope they overturn it so he can play against City. Fingers, everything crossed. Every religious prayer is required. You're meant to have a transfer list. It's where the term comes from. I think Sesko will ball out for us. He's the kind of player to score goals out of nowhere, which ironically is what we need. Boy, I just want a striker that's going to score goals. I hear it. You got long gone are the days of just standing in the box. You need, pull out to the channels, drop in midfield. I hear all of that. But as much as the game has developed, we still need to do the primary jobs. A striker still has to score goals. Arteta, as much as you was doing the inverted thing, with Zinchenko, you still understood that you still, no matter how much the game develops, you still need to do your primary role. That's why you're probably, we started to see Timber, Calafiori, Lewis-Skelly, all them guys at fullback. Where Kane had a gentleman's agreement with Spurs. We know how that played out, boy. See what I'm saying? There are teams winning leagues without Saliba. Sometimes opportunities don't come when you're 100, when you're ready for it 100%. You have to go for it sometimes. When Saliba leaves, I'm telling you, look, now we'll drop down to fighting for top 4. At least Sesko ain't scared to shoot. He's better than what we have. I hear that. We have Timber who can play centre-back. Kai Moreno, what a waste of money. Gabby Jesus isn't good enough. Boy. I like Kai's work rate, but if it gets in the way of him scoring goals, that's a problem. Just as at this point, I'm not mad at Kai. Like, you didn't buy yourself. You didn't make yourself a lot more consistent than your teammates. Any team that wants to win a league and you're going to live or die by Kai Havertz up front, you signed up for what you signed up for, innit? Respectfully. Kai Havertz has to go back in midfield. I think Duran is a plan B for Sesko. They won't let it ruin the summer move. This Duran guy ain't that good. He gives me Lewis Saha vibes. He's never put a Saha season worth of work in. But yeah, big up young. Hey, them in Nkunku is going United. Let's go. Don't let Chelsea might be sending you a dud, He's a good player, but he doesn't seem to be able to stay fit. 28 days in and nothing to show for it. What a joke. Keep the faith. Gravenberg is quality, and yeah, I mean, Arnslot's over there, Gravenberg's over there. Hopefully, Timber can chat to him, but the Dutch contingent, they're doing things over there. Deluded, would you be okay with Rashford and maybe Cunha? Just bring Cunha, man. Put Cunha in the bag and let's keep it moving, man. Rashford, big up you. It would be on brand with that, but like, bro, I just want players, yeah, and I'm mainly speaking about the attackers. I just want players that I know what I'm going to get. Sometimes I think there's a bit of scapegoating and pile-on with Kai Havertz, but I don't know what I'm going to get. Beyond the obvious, I don't know what I'm going to get. You might score a brace. You might miss a bag of chances 9 times out of 10. You lot know me. I love Martinelli. I don't know what I'm getting. Well, I do know what I'm getting for you, and it's not what I want to see, but I don't know what I'm getting from you. I like Trossard. You've been kind of finding your feet, but I think you're a squad player. I don't know what I'm getting. Gabriel Jesus, when fit, hope you get fit. I don't know what I'm getting. Lewis-Skelly's a young G. Sorry, yeah, he is, but Ethan's a young G. Let him develop, so he's a bit irrelevant. But everybody in that sense, everyone apart from Bukayo Saka in an attacking sense, I don't know what I'm going to get. And that's fine if you want to be a team that's best team of 2024, semi-finals of a League Cup on paper. Because again, we know the narratives, but on paper, there's plenty of statistics that show Arsenal's improvement. That's cool. But you see, if you want to get over the line, you need to know Saka's doing this striker's doing that, my man's doing this one on the bench can do that. These players can come in when what's this form. These are when I see these questions answered, and I genuinely feel in my heart whether it pans out or not, you'll see a different me. I know I play the PR game as a joke with you lot, but I am not afraid to say if there's evidence, I believe Arsenal can win the league. I said in the summer, it's looking like a top 3 finish. I hope it's the highest position of that. It's looking like that. Just win me a domestic trophy. Go as far as you can in all these trophies. That's not because I want to say that. I want to win trophies, but I can't honestly say that. What's up with all the Kai Havertz hate? The guy's outstanding, running meters, says it all. When we sign that big striker, he'll still play guaranteed. I haven't hated on him. I don't think I've hated on Kai. But what I would say, being devil's advocate, yeah, once you talk about a footballer and you talk about their work rate and the meters they cover, generally, I think it's a bit scary because this is football. I know you got to be able to run, but this is football. There's been no, and I agree with you, but there's no mention of his footballing prowess. It's like when people say, "Oh, I like Jimmy," he puts a shift in. But you are right. I don't feel there's. I feel people are harsh, and even that, and this is what I mean. Kai Havertz last season and this season is one of our top goal scorers, and this is for someone that's not clinical. What does that say about his teammates? What does that say about what we're trying to assist? If we had a clear bagsman, they might miss these chances Kai's had. But how many draws could have been turned into victory? How many defeats could have been turned into draws? Ultimately, more points on the board. And you lot know the amount of points we missed out on the Premier League, last season. Fine margins. We talk about fine margins, but we're never on the right side of them. Do with that what you will. Kai needs 5 or 6 chances to score. We're giving Arteta so much credit and holding on for what? But we booed Wenger out of here for getting top 4 and winning a couple FA Cups. Don't make sense. Did we just want a new face or something? I didn't hound Wenger out. It was Wenger to the death. Kai's getting too many excuses. The only thing Kai's ever has over other striker options is that he stays fit. The work rate and the rest of things people are talking about is simply not there. Now, his work rate's there. I won't take that away from Kai, but if I'm being very harsh, you should work hard. It's the minimum requirement of anything in life, and it's the minimum requirement of an Arteta team, and anyone in the Premier should work hard. Should be good off the ball. You're German international, Champions League winner. So my beef isn't with Kai. Like, it's why are we putting man in this position? Why are we putting someone who could be shouldn't be at the club anyways, respectfully? I think we could have spent that money elsewhere. But why are we putting someone who at best is a squad player, can chip in and whatnot, and trying to live or die by essentially his performances? Kai, unfortunately, not even unfortunately. I say unfortunately because of how I feel we're assembling stuff. Unfortunately, he's one of our more consistent players. Kai, out of all of these attackers, you know what you're going to get. You can accept, whether it's right or wrong, you can accept my man's going to miss those chances. But you know what you're going to get. Saka's the most consistent. The others, you don't know what you're going to get. Havertz is being scapegoated by fans. Yes, he should do better up front, but he gives it his all. Hey DG, it's your fan Fanta boy. You are doing a great job in my office at work, but always try to never miss your show. God bless you. Hope we make these signings before the deadline. Big up you, big up the 9-to-5ers and the grinders, man, in your lunch break. But yeah, I hope we don't. We got until the 3rd of February. I keep forgetting that. I keep thinking it's the 31st of January. Let's hope, innit? Let's hope, man. But in life, they say it's the hope that kills, man. Man said Nepan sounded like medication. DG got more tabs than Jason Ato. That's funny. You know what? That was funny. In other news, you're still hitting the gym. Don't slap my guy. Don't. There's no galley. So I won't back off the shirt. 100%. 100%. DG, you're bang on the money. It's a victim card thing, man. I'll play out. Why don't Arsenal go for Oli? I mean, he beat City twice. This is why we don't listen to rivals. They don't want their best for us. You don't want the best for us. Get their likes up if you haven't. We're signing nobody in yo. I said the same ish. Ironic, it happens after Wolves. Still no signings. Unfortunately, man. Unfortunately. Hey, be nice in the comments, please. Most of that 80 mil price tag is his potential. Same with Sesko, which means clubs expect them to become 80 mil players at least. Of course, Villa will ask for 80 mil. They don't need to sell. Our board wasted time and waited till the last second to get players. Clubs don't want to sell. That's late in the window. Bang on the money, man. It is what it is, though. Big up Fam Zone TV. Make sure you're smashing up the likes and you're subscribing to the people. Them Duran for 80, no chance. Don't think that's enough to win us the league or Champions League. Personally, I can't look at Duran and say, "Yo, Prem champs." But then, if I'm being a bit silly, but if we had Duran last season, and there's plenty of games, ironically, the 2 against Aston Villa, but definitely West Ham at the Emirates, or a couple of games this year, you put our players who have missed tap-ins and you put Duran in them situations there, how are we looking at him then? And do we have to accept this is the rate? Because ultimately, if he signs for the club and does the business, no one cares. Because this seems to be the theme. Like, players are overpriced now. Like, everybody's robbing everyone. The Premier League clubs got more money than sense. They're getting richer and richer. Respectfully to Bournemouth, because Areola, them players there are doing a madness. But we're in a day and age where Bournemouth and AC Milan are going toe-to-toe for footballers. And Bournemouth are winning. You know, we're hearing the same thing. Semenyo, you're looking at 50. Justin Cliver and all them players, I don't even know what their price tag would be. Duran, you're hearing 80. Cunha, you're hearing 80. Kudus, you're hearing release clause or F off. We've even throughout the January market, we've seen, whether it's true or not, we've seen as high as 150 million for Isaac. We're seeing madness. So it's like, at what point, yeah, we need to find value for money. And I'm not even necessarily saying pay the price tags, but to a degree, how much do we have to accept such? Like, this is the dynamics at play. And it's not the same. But if you're ready to spend 65 on Kai, not even saying because you spent 65 on Kai, spend 80 on Duran, but the club have shown they'll take that risk, or Arteta, you will take that risk. 100 million on Rice. Now, clearly, I'm being silly. Like, 100 million on Rice, there's a British tax, but we knew what we was getting with Rice. But at what point, if we're not going to do the smart scouting and find how all them players I said, buy them before they end up where they end up, and we're not having these talking points, if you're not going to do the clever clogs thing, at what point do you have to say, do you know what? It's a that thing. We're doing X, Y, Z. I don't know. It's one where I'll be real. I'm happy. I'm not in charge of no transfers and whatnot. What's up with Kai Havertz fanboys? They see him cost us games and still act blind to it. I don't know for the fanboys thing. I've always, respectfully, Cali, I find that a bit disrespectful. It's like when people say Trossard cost us the league, this one cost us the league. We're all in it together. Cool, Kai Havertz has missed those chances, but then you could be dumb and say Arteta's costing us because you're putting the man up front. And cool, he's missed the chances. What about the others? I'm not saying you're wrong, bro, but I hate when I see talk like that. Last time I checked, well, definitely where Arsenal concerned, I think football's an 11-player game, but it might be 10. But there's 11 players out there and X amount on the bench. And then if you extend the team to off the field, you got all those coaching staff and those that live and breathe the moments with our team at all aspects. So yeah, man, I think that's harsh, man. I think that's harsh to say one man's cost us anything. Because there's been times where he's won the game for us. I'm not trying. I am definitely not no Kai Havertz fanboy, and I'm not a hater either. Like, we're at where we're at. And this, I'm not saying you, but again, I'm always going to preach this. I feel where Arsenal Football Club is concerned and talk around our club, there's little balance in the discussions online, definitely of all these media publications and things. Like, it's exhausting. It's exhausting, man. I remember no one wanted Isaac after his last season. There was a time I was ooming and ahhing a few Euros ago. Like, I'm sure it's even on YouTube. Like, Sesko, I mean, Isaac, you're looking at me. But Sociedad saw the angle. Okay, it's not worked out at Dortmund. I think they bought him for like 10 million. Everyone forgets Newcastle spent the bag. I'm sure, I don't know for Newcastle. Right now, Newcastle fans, I'm not saying that they're stupid or anything. Everyone will probably say they always believed in Isaac, yada, yada, yada. But he was seen as a player, bearing in mind strikers peak late, he was seen as a player with all this potential, didn't do what, you know, when you go Dortmund and you don't do the Haaland thing and the Bellingham thing, everyone thinks you're robbed. Sociedad bought him. Ironically, Roberto Alabi, sporting director, come over here. Let's go, man. Sociedad links. But they bought him for 10 mil. Newcastle clocks, raw, we need a striker. I'm pretty sure when they bought Isaac, some fans were like, he's spending 80 odd million quid on him, which a lot of people forget. Newcastle spent the bag on him as well. Do they care about that anymore? Strikers and centre backs, I always feel they're weird because some look crap for a few years and then they go clear. Like strikers and centre backs, you always have to be a bit wary when judging them. Leverkusen would take him in a heartbeat. I mean, if he's on cutting up the wages and whatnot. From a business standpoint, if I can save 20 mil by waiting 5 months, I'm going, not gonna lie. And that's the thing. Yeah, we don't want to hear it. Definitely around football, we don't want to hear any sort of business talk. But we have to consider that. Sesko and Duran, same price. Who would you rather? Sesko, you know. I know it sounds mad. Sesko. But I can't say 100% convinced me. I fuck with him though. How can we not have time to develop players? We have to develop players, man. We have no choice. What's today's Champions League matches? There's no Champions League matches today. Every game is the last game week, innit? Everything is going to be played tomorrow. I'm on the centre mid kiting DG for life. You know what? There'll be a couple games he's going to have to muck in and that. But I'll be real, man. Kai, big up yourself. I'm not trying to see you in midfield. Unless there's a dramatic improvement, I think it's horrible, man. I actually think it's horrible. From respectfully to Kai, I think your strengths are off the ball. If I'm saying that about a centre mid, Brazy. Isaac only scored 6 goals in his final season at Sociedad. Stop stats watching. And that's the thing. They took a chance. They did their homework and did what they needed to do. For 80 mil, go get Gyökeres. This is what the club does to you. They promise you Isaac, Osimhen and Gyökeres in the summer and still until the end of Jan. End the window to get bums like Ferguson or the Napan guy. Bro, bit harsh called the man their bums, but I can understand, maybe not in your language, what you mean. They're underwhelming signings. If we're talking about work rate, the player's not doing the crux of the job. And this is what I'm saying. I hear it, but when man start talking about work rate, it gets fugazi. Work rates are given. That deluded racist in the chat. Anyone doing the racist thing, please block people. We're not, kind of nonsense are we doing? We're not here for that. Big up everyone, regardless of what they look like. We're all here because we love football. And anyone being racist, respectfully, you're just going to do nonsense in the chat anyways. Like, you're probably weird. You defo hate yourself because that's why you would hate someone due to their pigment. You try and shit on the internet. Like, in a day and age where people are getting rich off meme coins, you can go on the internet and learn some skill or get motivated or, do whatever. You're using that to be a prick. Boy. And this is why there needs to be quality control, man. Man, them wear condoms because some of you are busting in things for 30 seconds and 30 seconds of enjoyment. You're breeding racist. What's going on? Or people that are idiots. Anyways, I played up front like Kai missed chances. I would hate if I was spoken about as he is. Some of you would have thought I was good. Some of you wouldn't. I expect, unpopular opinion, I expect to see my striker up there for big chance miss. I'm pretty sure if I was to look at, or the attackers that are the most prolific, I'm willing to bet money. Vardy must be up there generally. Kane must have been up there. Salah must have been up there. Haaland better be up there. You're not going to have 100 chances and score 100 chances. Now, you got to be able to go again. For me, with Kai Havertz, though, up front, why I want a striker, and obviously confidence plays a big part. But I just feel we've got a lot of these players, yeah, when they're confident and they're like in a good run of things, they're doing a madness. When they're down, they're really down. I need my striker to believe in himself, even, if he's gone 5 games without score, purely in the aspect of goal scoring, even when, he ain't scored in 5 games, he's down on himself. He feels like he's finished. He still believes that he's a quality player. I expect all footballers on over 200 grand to have high work rate. DG makes more sense than some of these pundits nowadays. Hit the likes. I don't know about that, but I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Mods, please, man. Please. Giving it your all and doing nothing notable in games ain't enough. Would you take Santiago Jimenez from Feyenoord? I'm not really feeling him, man. Havertz is indirectly the reason MLS got a red card from the corrupt ref. Had he scored one of the 50 sitters he missed, they would have killed the game and defended quietly. I can't lie. That's the maddest of reaches. It's okay to say you don't believe in Kai Havertz in that, but bloody hell, that's a reach, mate. That is a reach. I bet Onana of Man United in goal reckons he wishes he had that level of reach. He might not make the calamitous errors. Well, I don't believe we'll get anyone to appreciate hard work though, bro. Sesko turned up after the Madrid match. Now he's special. Xavi, Simmons, or Pendo are counted as better players than Sesko. But hey, I mean, I'll never get excited for a player turning up in a big game because some of you fell for the Mudryk hype, man. Depends how we see it. I'm trying to dominate and compete for the next 10 years straight. Duran, I think, is the second-rated striker. Anyone who can't outside Ollie Watkins is not for us. I hear that. But yeah, I hear that, but we're not. Whether it's Sesko, any of these guys, do any of us expect these men to be leading the line for 10 years though? 10 years, 3, 4, 5 at max. I'm having Duran. Duran wouldn't be my first choice. My first choice would, as I said, would be the guy we can't get in it. Like it would be Isaac. I mainly want Sesko because I like him. I feel he's one that he might not be everyone's cup of tea, and I'm not saying he's perfect, but I feel in the next 2 years everyone will be waffling about him. And Arteta, again, I know his talent ID. People say it's hit and miss with attackers, but at least with Isaac and Sesko, there's credited interest. So if you genuinely want this guy, you must know how he improves us in the short, medium, and long term, and what you can get out of the guy in it. So go do your thing. 80 million is steep, but do you know what? It would have been nice if we got a top striker and we signed Duran. It's easy for me to say, but we signed John Duran when he was in the MLS, like someone said, for like what, 10 million? That's your Eddie and Nketiah role kind of guy. A bit like the exact role he is in at Aston Villa now. Now, you know what? You're right, though. If you can't out Ollie Watkins, and like, we can't talk like Ollie Watkins is Eddie and Nketiah, but make sure you're subscribing to FamZone TV as well, by the way, folks. But you are right. If you can't. Yeah, really. Everyone tranquilo. Gyökeres, Martinez, or Osimhen, but I really wanted Alvarez before he went to Spain. I mean, I do wonder, like, had Arteta have just grabbed us, Julian Alvarez and or Cole Palmer, what would we be looking at this moment in time? Lautaro Martinez, I like him, but I don't know if you're the guy. I think you're a good striker, but I don't think you're the guy. And I used to be heavy on his training, and I know and I know he scores goals in that. But I just think your best football comes when you've been partnered with a forward. I don't think you're the guy. Arsenal fans have fought amongst each other since the 60s. It's never going to stop. But Kai is the top earner in the team. He should be held accountable for all chances missed because of his disorientated movement as a striker. He cost us 2 cups and how many points? Respectfully, there's 11 players out there. He didn't pay himself. Everyone's getting paid. If we're going to do that, the manager's on a 15 million a year contract or something mad like that. He signed a 3-year deal. Everyone's on P's. Like, I'm not gonna lie, them comments there, ignorance is bliss, man. I'm just gonna have to take your word for it, my dude, man. A man said Sesko is Havertz 2.0, another NPC. I don't want him near Arsenal. Bring Duran, he's an actual killer. Funny enough, Havertz is better than Sesko and Duran off the ball at pressing. Yeah, but I hear that. But if that is the case, yeah, what's easier to learn? How to press or how to be a cold-blooded scorer in front of goal? Because whether it's Kai Havertz up front, whether it's been Gabriel Jesus, they do everything that Mikel Arteta wants from a forward, but then they're just not putting the ball in the back of the net. DG, might I interest you in my well-known client, Jonathan David, Canadian international, 2-footed, plays 4 positions, handsome. Why for that, boy? You're my guy, but I have to act like I don't know you at this moment in time, man. I don't care about him being handsome. You're moving mad. But boy, you know what, Jonathan David, might as well, man. Like I said, when you're starving, which I am now, anything put in front of you on a plate looks a bit, appealing. Kai is number 4 in the Premier League, most big chances missed with 14, same as Salah. The difference is Salah combats that with being a gunman. DG, why do you think Aiden is leaving? They think, well, he clearly thinks he's got a better pattern to the first team and the path for his development. Man United, you've got a Johnny Evans there, you've got a Maguire, they play 3 at the back, so by default, you might get more opportunities. Here, you're not even going to, I don't think you're ready right now, but you're not playing left back. Even at the Lewis-Skelly, your age mate, he's taking your place, and you got a bunch of options at left back. Even guys like Kivio that are not playing are considered options. Centre half, forget about it. Big him up though. Go do your thing. Like he's an actual North Londoner as well. So I was rooting on him, but it is what it is. Do you think the appeal of Miles' red will go through? They've appealed it. It's with God now, man. It is what it is, man. It is what it is. All right, you lot, stop fighting, man. Like, stop fighting in the chat. I'm selling Jonathan David anyway I can. Maybe Ato is watching. I'll take you man's word for it, man. You're even mad though. Man said handsome. That's for the zesty gooners, man. That like Arteta and tweet about Calafury. And that's one, you know what, yeah? Everybody's allowed to do what they want and like what they like. We're all inclusive, yeah. But I feel like Gen Z people on social media, you lot, some of the things you lot tweet about the appearances of players and what you do, let people do, you lot, we're in the end game. We're in the end game. We're in the end game. It's scary. Like, it's very, very scary, man. Very, very scary. Scary settings, man. Scary hours. We're to Chate Sancho. Very scary, bro. Especially them popular blue tick accounts. The things man tweet. I'm thinking, right, like the thought process that you need locking up, lad. Like, you're scary. Like, we doing behind closed doors. But on that note, people, time always flies when I'm here with you lot. No clue how we're just shy of 90 minutes. I should be recording with Zara in a minute. Again, that will come out later today. Admittedly, I'm gonna go and get a quick bite to eat and then go and do that. So yeah, if you're watching this on a replay, big up you lot. Shout to you lot that have commented and all those things. Make sure you're subscribing and that. Is then how do you do that? You know what? We need to get better at this redirect stuff, you know. How do you even do it? It's easy on Twitch. You know what? I'll learn how to do that because, yeah, man, I don't know how you do that right now. But, yeah, on that note, though, man, bless up you lot, man. Make sure you're taking in the content. Peace.
Against this right back, Charlie's definitely.
Always just that active red light, defenders. I think it's like